Members of Congress are most likely to lose their seats after their first term, but 5th District Congresswoman Jahana Hayes held off a challenge from David X. Sullivan to win 55 to 43%.
Does she expect Washington to be different when she returns? Welcome, Congresswoman Hayes.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for joining us. What changes do you think you'll see in your job with the Democratic president?
Well, first of all, I'm so thrilled that President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris have secured a victory. As for me personally, I'm not sure how many changes I'll see. In my first term, we held the majority in the House, with the Senate and the White House being Republican, and we had to work hard for every piece of legislation. I don't see that changing much. Hopefully, we'll be at a place where we can work on some compromise and get some of these things through and signed into law.
Republicans spent many years trying to dismantle Obamacare. What do you see happening to Obamacare with a Democratic president?
I think everyone right now should be able to agree on the fact that we need health insurance. We are in the middle of a pandemic. We have seen so many people who did not have access to care or could not afford care. We have seen so many people who lacked preventable health care, which made them incredibly vulnerable to this virus. So everyone should be able to agree that let's sit down at the table and figure out what works and strengthen it. And then the things that don't work, we can take those things apart. But to completely dismantle it and go back to a time where people did not have insurance, I think is unrealistic in the middle of a global pandemic.
In the run-up to the election, Democrats were expected to increase the number of members they had in the House of Representatives, and it was a surprise that Republicans took about at least 10 Democratic seats. Do you see that causing any challenge to Speaker Nancy Pelosi's reelection bid?
Well, Democrats still hold the majority, so I don't think it would cause a challenge specifically for Speaker Pelosi. However, I was surprised that Democrats lost seats. I mean, everybody gets one vote. And what it says to me is that we are a country that is deeply divided. And either we did not do as good a job as we should have articulating the legislation or what we were trying to pass, or that people are not accepting of that legislation. Either way, we have to work to bring everybody back to the table and make sure that we are legislating for everyone. I think we can agree that what we've witnessed over the last 4 years, and specifically the last year, is not the America that any one of us wants to embrace in this way. We have to bring people back to the table. We have to start the healing process. We have to make sure that we are legislating not only for the people who voted for us, but for everyone, every one of our constituents. I was very surprised by some of the losses that Democrats had, but it really brings us to a point where we have to reflect on, okay, what is the next step moving forward? And how do we make sure that people understand what it is we're trying to do and bring people back to the table? And then I think one other thing I'll say about that, it really, for me, makes me question polling, because
Yes.
I didn't allow myself to get excited, but this is not the first time where the polls have led us to these unrealistic expectations. And then the day after the election, we're looking at, the post-election analysis and seeing how far off we were.
Just to follow up, though, on Kevin's question, so you're not hearing murmurs of a challenge to Speaker Pelosi at this point?
I have not, no. I have, prior to the election, people have reached out on other seats, chairmanships and different things, and my position was I will not even consider anything until after the election, because these elections are not guaranteed. But I have not heard from anyone in the caucus that there would be a challenge to the speakership.
When you say reaching out, that's because people are seeking your vote, because in the Democratic caucus, you vote for who's going to chair these powerful committees. Is that right?
Absolutely. You have to take a vote on every committee, every subcommittee, the caucus chairs. All of those things are things that members vote on. And some of the members who are seeking those positions have made it known weeks ago. And I just don't think that we should be that presumptive that we would, obviously, that all of us would win our seats and can guarantee a vote.
Okay, Congresswoman Jahana Hayes, thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday morning. We appreciate it, and congratulations.
Thank you.